Picture this. You're standing at a crossroads. Two paths, both look fine, but you freeze. You can't choose. Your brain locks up. Why? You tell yourself you're being careful, rational, smart, but that's a lie. Something else is running the show, something you can't see, something you don't even know is there. Every job you didn't apply for, every conversation you didn't start, every risk you didn't take. You think those were choices. They weren't. They were obedience. There's a hidden force controlling you, a fear so deep, so ingrained that you mistake it for common sense. You mistake it for your personality. You mistake it for who you are. But it's not you. It's a program. And today, we're going to pull it out of the shadows and expose it, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once you see it, it loses power. The old belief is simple. Fear protects you. Fear keeps you safe. Fear is your friend. That's what they taught you. That's what you believed. That's why you're stuck. But fear isn't protecting you. Fear is paralyzing you. Fear isn't keeping you safe. Fear is keeping you small. And the worst part, you don't even know it's happening. The hidden fear has a name. It's called the fear of irrelevance. The fear that if you show up fully, if you speak your truth, if you take up space, people will ignore you, reject you, forget you. This isn't the fear of failure. That's surface level. This is deeper. This is the fear that even if you succeed, it won't matter, that you won't matter, that you'll disappear. And that fear is making every decision for you. What you wear, what you say, what you don't say, where you go, where you don't go. It's all designed to avoid that one outcome, being irrelevant. Let me show you how deep this goes, how this fear has hijacked your brain, how it's built a cage around your life, and how to break free. First insight, the approval addiction. You think you're making choices based on what you want, but you're not. You're making choices based on what keeps people interested in you. You don't pick the career you love. You pick the career that sounds impressive at parties. You don't say what you really think. You say what gets nods, what gets likes, what keeps you in the conversation. Because the real terror isn't rejection. Rejection means they noticed you. The real terror is indifference. It's someone looking right through you like you're not even there. Take Brian, marketing guy, hated his job, wanted to be a woodworker. But every time he thought about quitting, his brain said, "What will people think? What will you say at Thanksgiving?"
Not will you fail, not will you regret it, but will people still find you interesting? That's the fear talking. That's the hidden driver. He stayed in marketing for 8 more years. 8 years of his life traded for the comfort of not being boring, for the safety of having an acceptable answer when someone asks, "So, what do you do?" Your brain has learned that relevance equals survival. In ancient times, being cast out of the tribe meant the end. Your nervous system still believes that, so it does everything to keep you in the tribe. But here's the problem. The tribe doesn't exist anymore. You're not going to perish if someone unfollows you, but your brain doesn't know that. It's still running the old software. So you perform, you curate, you edit yourself down to the version that's least likely to be ignored. And in doing so, you become exactly what you feared, forgettable. Second insight, the decision paralysis loop. You think you're bad at making decisions. You think you're indecisive, but you're not. You're just terrified of making the wrong choice and losing attention. Every decision carries the same question. Will this make me more interesting or less interesting? Will people still care about me if I choose this? And that question freezes you, because both options feel like traps. Choose wrong and you're boring. Choose right and you still might be boring. So you choose nothing. You wait. You gather more information. You ask more opinions. Take Lisa. She spent 2 years trying to decide if she should move to another city. Not because the decision was hard, but because she couldn't predict how people would react. Would her friends think she was adventurous or running away? Would her family be proud or disappointed? Would she have good stories, or would she fade into obscurity in a new place? The actual logistics of the move? Easy. The fear of becoming irrelevant in the process? Paralyzing. So she stayed, not because she wanted to, because her brain wouldn't let her risk it. Here's what's happening in your brain. The amygdala, your fear center, has linked decision-making with social consequences. Every choice is scanned for relevance risk. High risk, shut down. It's not about right or wrong, it's about safe or dangerous. And dangerous doesn't mean physical harm, it means social invisibility. Your brain would rather keep you stuck than risk you disappearing. So you stay in the loop, weighing options forever, asking everyone's opinion, trying to calculate the choice that guarantees you'll still matter. But that choice doesn't exist, so you stay stuck. Third insight, the performance trap. You've turned your entire life into a highlight reel. Not because you're vain, because you're terrified of being skipped, of being scrolled past, of being forgotten.
You don't share what's real. You share what's impressive. You don't show up as you are. You show up as the version most likely to hold attention. And it's exhausting. Because the algorithm in your head is always running. Is this interesting enough? Will people care? Am I adding value? Am I still worth paying attention to? Take Marcus, entrepreneur, built a six-figure business, but he couldn't enjoy it because every win had to be packaged, every lesson had to be shareable, every moment had to perform. He wasn't living his life, he was producing content from his life. Because if a tree falls in the forest and no one posts about it, did it even happen? Did you even matter? This is the trap. You think visibility equals value. You think attention equals worth. So you optimize for it. You sacrifice authenticity for algorithm. You trade presence for performance. But here's the cruel irony. The more you perform, the less interesting you become. Because everyone's performing, everyone's curating, and the feed is full of people pretending to be worth watching. The ones who stand out? The ones who stopped performing. The ones who showed up messy, real, unfiltered. Because that's rare now. That's the actual signal in the noise. But your fear won't let you do it. Fourth insight, the quiet disappearance. You've built a life that looks fine from the outside, job, friends, routine. But inside, you're vanishing. And no one notices, because you designed it that way. You don't make waves, you don't take up space, you don't speak unless you're sure it'll land. You've become an extra in your own life, background, filler, safe, invisible. And part of you is relieved. Because if you're invisible, you can't be rejected. If you're quiet, you can't be criticized. If you don't try, you can't fail publicly. You've hacked the system. But you've also trapped yourself. Because the cost of avoiding irrelevance is becoming irrelevant. You played it so safe that you disappeared anyway. And now you're stuck in the worst of both worlds. Take Jenna. She spent years being agreeable, never disagreeing, never pushing back, always nice, always supportive. She thought people liked her. They didn't dislike her, but they didn't think about her at all. She wasn't memorable. She wasn't distinct. She was just there. And when she finally tried to speak up, to be seen, no one listened because she'd trained them not to. She'd made herself invisible. This is the end game of the hidden fear. You protect yourself so well from being irrelevant that you guarantee it. You become the thing you were afraid of. And the worst part? You did it to yourself. Now let's talk about what this feels like. Maybe you're recognizing yourself in this. Maybe you're feeling the weight of all those years spent managing how you're perceived, exhausted from performing.
You look at people who seem free, who say what they think, who take risks, who don't seem to care if they're liked. And you wonder how they do it, what they know that you don't. The answer is simple. They faced the fear. They risked irrelevance. They showed up fully, knowing they might be ignored, rejected, or forgotten. And they did it anyway. That's the difference. You've been operating under the assumption that if you manage your image well enough, you can control how people see you.
That if you optimize every choice, you can guarantee mattering. But you can't, because relevance isn't something you earn. Relevance isn't something you control. Relevance is something other people decide. And no amount of performing changes that. The fear promised you safety. It said, follow my rules and you'll never be forgotten. But it lied. Following the rules just made you forgettable. Playing it safe made you blend in. Performing made you generic. So here's the shift. Stop trying to be relevant. Start trying to be real. Stop managing how you're perceived. Start showing up as you are. Stop optimizing for attention. Start optimizing for truth. This terrifies you because it feels like surrender, like giving up, like accepting that you might not matter. But that's not what it is. It's the opposite. It's reclaiming your power. Because when you stop performing, you stop caring if they care. When you stop curating, you stop needing validation. When you stop trying to matter, you start actually mattering to yourself. And that's the only opinion that counts. Take David, spent his whole life chasing relevance, built a business to impress people, dated people to look successful, posted to prove he was living. Then he burned out, crashed, lost everything. And in the wreckage, he stopped performing. He stopped trying. He just existed. And something strange happened. People started reaching out. Real people with real connection, because he finally felt real. The performance was the barrier, the fear was the cage. The moment he let go, he became magnetic, not because he was impressive, because he was honest. And honesty is the rarest thing now. Your brain won't believe this at first. It'll say, if you stop trying, you'll disappear. It'll panic. It'll flood you with anxiety. It'll try to pull you back into the performance. Let it panic. Don't obey it. Because the fear is a liar. It's been lying to you your whole life. It told you that relevance was survival, that attention was oxygen, that if people stopped watching, you'd cease to exist. None of that is true. You existed before anyone knew your name. You'll exist after they forget it. Your worth isn't tied to their gaze. Your value isn't measured in likes. You are not your performance. You are what's underneath. And when you finally accept that, when you finally let go of the need to be seen, something miraculous happens. You become free. Free to choose what you want. Free to say what you think. Free to live.
The choices become easy. Because you're no longer asking, what will people think? You're asking, what do I actually want? And that question has a clear answer. The other one never did. The relationships become real because you're no longer attracting people based on performance. You're attracting people based on truth. And the ones who stay are the ones who actually see you. The confidence becomes unshakable because it's not based on external validation. It's based on internal alignment. You know who you are. You know what you stand for. And that can't be taken away. This is the shift from relevance to presence, from performance to authenticity, from fear to freedom. And it starts the moment you stop letting the hidden fear make your decisions. So here's the exercise. Next time you're frozen at a decision, ask yourself, am I afraid of the outcome or am I afraid of being forgotten? Be honest, the answer will surprise you. Then make the choice anyway. Choose what you actually want, not what looks good, not what sounds impressive, not what keeps you in the conversation. What you want. And notice what happens. You'll feel fear. That's normal. The fear will scream that you're making a mistake, that you're going to regret this, that people will think you're boring. Let it scream. Don't stop moving. Because on the other side of that fear is freedom. Real freedom. The kind where you're not constantly monitoring how you're perceived. The kind where you just exist, fully, unapologetically, loudly. The hidden fear only has power because it's hidden. The moment you see it, the moment you name it, the moment you stop obeying it, it loses. It becomes noise, background static, irrelevant. So stop letting fear decide for you. Stop performing for ghosts. Stop trading your life for the illusion of mattering. You already matter. You always did. Now, start living like it.